Hey guys.
Hi,
Hello, hello.
everybody.
And welcome in, welcome in. My name is Sav, aka Savannah Lowe. I'm your friendly neighborhood wholesome singing Soulsborne streamer. Thank you so much for joining us all today. We are doing the Women in Power gaming section where Women Skilled is taking over the Just Chatting section. If you've been writing all of the other amazing panels, thank you so much for landing here. We should get started by introducing these amazing creators, and we can start with Kat in Wonderland. If you'll tell us who you are, what you stream, and when, just a little bit about yourself.
Hello, friends. Welcome in to everyone on my channel, and hello to everybody here as well. Like Sav said, my name is Kat or Kat in Wonderland. I'm a variety streamer from Melbourne, Australia, but I currently live in Germany. Normally, I play a variety of games. We also love to co-work, cook, craft, clean. We do it all on this channel. And within my community, we have a big focus on sharing stories, lessons, and a little more on that later. But thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. And who are we having next?
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Kat. Peachy, introduce yourself, who you are, what you stream, and when. Just a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Exo Peachy. You guys can call me Marie also because it's weird to be called Peachy sometimes. I'm a predominantly retro RPG streamer from New York, living in Atlanta, and I stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursday evenings.
Wonderful. And can we get Angelic Tryshort? Let us know. And thank you so much. So, would you prefer to be called what for today's panel?
You can call me Angelic if you want. You can literally call me anything because I
Awesome.
answer to everything.
And Luna's List, can you introduce yourself? Who you are, what you do, when
Hello.
you do it?
Hi, I'm Luna's List. You can call me Luna. I'm an ADHD, trans, lesbian, variety streamer, VTuber, voice actress. That's a lot of words. I'm just a cute goober on the internet, and I like to play video games and talk to people and have fun and be adorable. that's
That's what I
pretty
was
much it.
forgetting to say.
I mean, yeah,
That's the life. That's the life. I love that so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Do you have that on a
Luna,
t-shirt
you're freaking
somewhere? I'm
adorable.
just a cute
Not
goober on the
yet. I don't
internet.
have merch
I will buy.
yet,
I
but
will buy one.
when
Just
I
let me
do,
know.
that's gonna be one of the first things for sure.
And Cass, would you love to tell us who you are, what you do?
Yes, well, I'm Cass Champ. I love to play cozy games. It brings me joy, and I feel like it's important to be able to express or like to feel that these days. And I studied in interior design and all that jazz, but we are now creating content and streaming and gaming as well, and taking that with so much passion and not being afraid to show that it is okay to game and wanting to be in this space and industry where it's mostly not done.
We love a baddie in a male-dominated field. Let's
Yes.
go.
Yes.
Always.
So we have Kat, we have Cass, we have Luna, we have Angelic, we have Peachy, Marie, and I'm Sav. It's so nice to meet you all. I play Soulsborne games. Mainly, I'm a professional vocalist that found streaming during the pandemic, and it's been such an amazing part. I love being a part of the Women's Guild. I joined the guild at its conception, and then also when they came with mentors, I joined the community building mentorship program. So I love being a part of everything that they have to offer, and meeting new people, uplifting and amplifying marginalized voices on this platform is something I'm very passionate about. And we're really excited to bring all of that to you today. I would like to start by talking about something that we've probably all experienced in different ways at different levels, which is how women are treated in gaming spaces. Not just the obvious stuff, right? You know, we've all seen the social media clips, but the subtle things
Yeah.
too, the micro digs. But I'd love this to just be a real conversation, not just service level, because I think that we all feel this, even if we don't always have the language for it. So, Kat, I'd love to start with you. Like, when you think about multiplayer spaces, when you think about gaming spaces, what are some of the most common forms of maybe bias that you've seen or experienced?
I think maybe 10 years ago, I feel like the biases were really overt, and as a woman, you could feel like perhaps you weren't as welcomed in the space, or your skill set was denied because you're a girl or you're a woman. But I feel like now, in the year we're in, 2026, the biases are a little bit different. I think it goes along the lines of what kind of games you like to play, um, perhaps your setup, as well as, I guess, your preferences in the different ways you like to play. So I think it's so great that we have a great mixture of different creators today to talk about all of that.
100%. Being a woman that, like, when you say you're interested in the games, and then the immediate assumption is, oh, you must love, like, Animal Crossing. And I'm like, well, yeah. But I play Doom and stuff too, and like Bloodborne, and
I
yeah.
definitely don't play Animal Crossing.
I
all
do
the time,
play
but no,
cozy games like
but I get
Bloodborne.
that.
Yeah.
Cozy
Um,
games
I
like
mean,
Bloodborne.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hyperfixation mentioned. Hold on.
Yeah.
Souls
It's
games
really
are
cozy.
cozy games to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is.
It's funny
Yeah.
you say that because I find
Yes.
the traditional cozy games to be so aggressive on my senses. Like inventory management
Oh.
is absolutely not cozy to me. I feel like I'm doing homework. Anything that requires me to have a spreadsheet to track things is not cozy.
Please no
Stardew,
time management.
Yeah.
Please no bedtime in a game. Please, but so it does change from person to person. You know, like so
Yeah.
so some people might
Yeah.
automatically assume, oh, this person is a woman. This person's going to be interested in this like cozy like Animal Crossing thing. And not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but does that resonate with anybody else? Has anybody experienced that differently to any kind of bias about
For sure.
anything subtle or maybe outright whenever you're in multiplayer spaces? Anybody
Yeah.
playing
So
games on VC or
way back in the day, I'm going to take you back to the days of yore, on Xbox 360 when Gears of War 2 came out. I played Gears of War 2 multiplayer all the time. It was like my entire existence in the gaming space was that game. And the amount of vitriol, shivers, the amount of vitriol that came out of that space is disgusting. I got doxxed through Xbox Live.
Oh no!
Because
my God.
I was playing that game.
Oh, no.
And this is like before Twitch. This is well before that. This is like 15 plus years ago. And so it pulled me out
before Twitch.
it pulled me out of the multiplayer space completely. I don't play multiplayer games ever now, unless it's like a cooperative game, but I do not play multiplayer competitive games anymore.
Same kind of thing for me, but not because I like experienced it, but like I've seen it happen enough that like post transition for me and voice trading, I'm like, I don't want to get on a voice communication and get harassed. Basically, I just kind of avoid multiplayer games now because I don't want to go through that, which sucks because like I shouldn't have to do that, you know?
Yeah, no, you should be able to hop on a space and be yourself and not fear in a way of, 'cause, I mean, gaming is to escape, it's to have fun, and I think it's not fair in a way. I mean, there's a lot of things that aren't fair in the world, but we have the right, to be able to enjoy something with our full chest and not be like judged or anything like that. Like for example, like, for me, my comfort is in playing cozy games, and for some people that might seem like not the most interesting thing, which is okay, but that's why it's like beautiful. Like the gaming world, I always say it's like there's so many games basically, and it's amazing that we're able to just connect in that way still.
I'm
do so.
similar
So yeah.
in the same way of where I don't really join in a multiplayer space unless it's co-op, and that's less to do with biases, more to do with my personal preference. But just to pose a question to you guys, who have played multiplayer game spaces before and don't play anymore, what would make you feel more comfortable to engage in that space again? And would you want to? Because like Cass was saying, you
Nothing.
It shouldn't be like a fear or something. What could be something that facilitates you to play again? Or if there was a multiplayer game that came out, like what would entice you to engage into that?
I would love to answer this because I was thinking about this with the newest release of the game Arc Raiders, because everybody was playing Arc Raiders. Everybody on my community was really
Yeah.
enjoying it, and I was just so terrified of hopping into that kind of toxic environment. I'm also the kind of person who can't even make a renegade decision in Mass Effect. I don't let my chat fool you. I punched a lady one time, okay, and
Wait,
she
if it's
and
the
everybody
reporter,
knows which one that
if it's the
was. Okay?
reporter, you're
It is the
supposed
reporter.
to. You're
Okay.
supposed to.
But I
Yeah.
can't. I cannot. I cannot.
The
Listen, I
violence.
can't even like be mean to someone, right? In a video game that's fake.
Mhm.
I'm not going to be like toxic to a
Yeah.
real person.
Yeah.
I had this
Pixels.
idea. I was like,
Yeah.
how cool would it be if everybody in the game was assigned a random voice changer? So you had no idea. Like when you were in voice chat,
Oh,
you
that'd
had
be so
no
cool.
idea what
That's a
anybody sounded
great
like.
idea.
You know what I mean? You could totally
I
erase
actually
Yeah.
love that idea.
any
I
of
like
that.
that.
You know, you erase any type of
Yeah.
how people
Yeah.
they could be like, I'm a girl,
Yeah.
whatever. Like or like no seriously, I'm a guy. Who
Yeah.
cares? You know, like
And
play
it
the
adds a
game. You
whole
know?
new
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
creative
we're
element to
humans,
that
you
as
know, like
well. Like you can have a little role play in there if you want to as well.
I
yeah.
actually think you would still be able to
Mhm.
figure out based on language, on how people talk.
I don't think
Because
so.
yes, because the way you would. Women are just in general more descriptive.
With that
But
aspect,
there's
a little
always
bit.
variance though. Like
There
yes,
is,
in
but it's
general.
I
Like
think it would still be easy to figure out for the most part.
Yeah.
I've never
Hopefully
done
people would just get
competitive
like
gaming.
lost in the
'Cause-
game, you know, and like
'cause
this
even
new
in
element.
Yeah,
co-op
I think it-
games,
I think it would
I
add
would-
enough separation to not
I would just
be
never
much
join a
fun.
competitive ever again. I'm happy
Mm.
outside. There's so much stuff outside of that space. I
That's
have no
understandable, yeah.
interest in.
But has anybody ever like felt a moment that wasn't even something someone said, but it was you could feel the shift in
1,000%.
you
Mhm,
have? Could you
mhm.
tell us about that?
So like okay, I don't have a specific example, but it's like every time just like anything about either being part of the LGBT community or just being a woman, like it coming up in a game situation with strangers. It's like there's this perceived like change if voice chat occurs sometimes. If it's another woman, usually not, which is amazing and wonderful. But you know, there's a lot of guys in gaming, and I don't know.
You felt the
I feel like
difference when
the
you were there.
yeah, it's the whole culture too. Like it's like that's expected almost. Like people are happy to just do that. Like they think that's normal. And I'm like the culture of gaming kind of needs to change. And like even thinking about just like report systems and like when terrible stuff like that could happen in a voice chat and you report somebody, nothing ever happens. Like that person will show up again later or like follow you into different lobbies and harass you and like it's just
I think
I don't know.
that
Yeah.
translates into real life a little bit as well, like as just a woman moving through spaces and to, I guess, move it into a positive thing in terms of like reporting and how that can help change the culture. I think it's also personal accountability, like you as a gamer as well. Like if you, as a woman, a man, a non-binary person, who whatever, you know, if you see something that you don't agree with, I think it's great to speak up online as well as like in person as well, because I think everybody has a voice, and for those who maybe don't feel comfortable speaking up, like you can help someone else feel more comfortable, and you may never know, and it doesn't really cost you anything either. So hopefully like people will move towards that general direction and want to speak up, you know.
We bring back shaming people for bad behavior.
The shame
Bring back
now.
the shaming.
Like
will
Yeah,
say,
I mean,
did you really
whenever
mean to
someone's
say that? What was that again? Did you mean to
ask,
say that?
ask what
Yeah.
they mean. Like if they tell a joke that is very clearly bigoted in some way, just be like, I don't get that. Can you explain?
Can you
that
explain
joke?"
that?
yeah, like that would just
Yeah.
yeah.
That's my
And I feel like
favorite one to bring.
it's so refreshing too, because it's like it doesn't bring the energy down. It's just like, no, please, like real talk. Like, because I mean, we're humans, you know, right? We're not just sitting down and being like, you know, surface level vibes, right?
Yeah, it's important.
I don't know
feel
what I
like
was gonna
it's
say, but
important to
yeah.
have like those
Yeah.
standards though, you know, because I
Yes.
feel like the anonymity and the people hiding behind their keyboards takes away a lot of that public, like the shaming aspect of things. Like
Mhm.
whereas if I was at the grocery store, I'm much less likely to have
Yeah.
somebody, you know, use that bias or like use strong language or tell me to go make them a sandwich in the checkout line than I
Yeah.
am online on a VC, because they feel like they have the
Mhm.
support and the backing of having that like
Yeah.
anonymity and hiding behind a screen and
Yeah.
the way to like you know like have the the personification, because when they see somebody, it's like, oh, this person's not really a person
Mhm.
to me. Like,
Yeah.
not only am I like, might they be like objectifying you already because of misogyny internalized or whatever or whatnot, but they see somebody on a screen and they're not automatically relating that to like, oh, that's a real person behind that microphone and
Mhm.
behind that screen and behind that gamer tag or what that might be. And I think that it's like something interesting here is that, you know, not all biases look the same, and some of it is really loud and then some of it is
Mhm.
quieter but just as impactful. And like, how do you differentiate between that overt toxicity and those more like subtle moments? Do we call out all of it?
I think it's important to call it out, but there's also, I always want to lead with kindness in a way where I know my thoughts and what I believe in. I don't want to convince other people to, want to, stop being toxic or not, because that's like their life, that's their choices.
Love that.
I hear that.
I 100% agree with that.
I
Yeah.
feel
My
like
com-
it depends on the setting. If you're in my space,
Yeah,
I'm
true.
gonna call it out because my space is how I want my space to be. But if I
Mhm.
Yes.
enter a space that is toxic and the if I pop into a channel and the chat is just off the rails and the streamer doesn't care, that person's written off forever
Mhm.
and I just leave. Like I'm not
Mhm.
going to sit there trying to police someone
True.
else's chat.
Yeah.
But my own community, you know, it this is what's allowed, this is what's not allowed, and if you don't like it, there's the door.
Exactly.
I
So
was
yeah, I mean
actually going to
Mhm.
say,
you can't change how other people are, but you
Exactly.
can
protect
change how
your
you
community.
react to those. Exactly. I got to protect
Yeah.
Yeah.
my people, I got to protect myself.
Yeah.
And it's all about
Now,
like, I feel like it comes down to respect, not only for
Yeah.
other people, but also for yourself. I think that's like really important to always remember having those lines and being able to put boundaries, but also still be able to be myself, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm glad you
absolutely.
brought
It's a
out
fine line.
boundaries, because they are like they are very different for everybody. You know, it's like I
Mhm.
like to like I learned from Chelsea Bites taught me the analogy of, you know, everybody's stream is like your own house, and you don't take off your shoes
Mm,
in everybody's house. Some people,
Mhm.
you walk
true.
through their front door and
Oh,
the first thing you do is you take off your shoes. And my
mhm.
rules might be different than your rules, but as long as you're following
Yeah.
the rules of that house and you understand that it doesn't mean that these people, like this person's boundaries are no better than this person's boundaries. This person might want to have a discussion before an immediate ban. This person might want to
Mhm.
just boot them out
Yeah.
and be like, no, this is my community, we don't play like that. You know, I like to I like to kind of gauge it as a situation goes, and if somebody is being it also depends on on my mood. And
Mhm.
but for the most part, I like to educate. I like to say like, okay, can I use this as a teachable moment? Does this person just not
Mhm.
understand that what they're doing is could be better? Like, are they having a bad day? Are they taking their behavior out on me? Do I feel the
Mm,
do I have the spoons to have this conversation right now? Can I use this as
Yeah.
a teachable moment? You know,
yeah.
I sometimes I offer a troll a hug. Yeah, you know, like I'm like, do you
Mhm.
need a hug? Or do you need a place to
Yeah.
be? Because you don't have to be like this. Are you lost and lonely? And this is how you're used to getting attention is through negative feedback. Because that's what you're used to,
Mhm.
you know. Because some
Mm,
people need a community, but
yeah.
it's not up to us to educate everyone. It's not our
Yeah.
responsibility
Yeah.
to welcome everybody, you know. But again,
Mhm.
like it depends on the different day. It depends on the different like the how you're doing, how you're feeling, and what your space, what you want to allow into your space. Because I
Mhm.
do feel like, you know, the subtle biases are harder to call out. You know, I feel like
Yeah.
one of those more subtle biases that we see as women in gaming is backseating. I feel like
oh my
Mm,
God.
backseating
true.
is
My
a
enemy.
subtle bias.
I could
Mhm.
I
talk
feel
about
like
backseating all day.
if you go
Yeah.
into women representing streamers chat more often than our male counterparts, it is absolutely way more prevalent.
100%.
It's always
Yeah.
and I've been doing a couple first playthroughs. I actually had to stop a Resident Evil 1 playthrough because people kept coming in, and even if it says please don't backseat unless like I specifically ask, I'll get backseating or like spoilers, and I'm like, no,
No, that's not
it's really
fun.
not. But
Ugh.
I did want to say with the boundaries also, like having those boundaries is really nice. I never did competitive gaming because like on YouTube and everything, I would see the way women are treated, even by fellow women sometimes. And I was like, I can't do that. My anger would not be good. It's already not good when people backseat me. I can't do it.
I
Yeah, you
think
gotta protect your peace.
to play
Truly.
devil's
Backseating
advocate
is an
though,
epidemic for
with
me.
backseating.
I've been
Mhm.
backseated in almost every game I've ever played on stream.
Mm.
I play retro games. So the games I'm playing are first playthroughs of games that are 20 plus years old. So
My childhood.
a lot of people come in and they're like, this is my favorite childhood game. And then I get nervous because every time a conversation starts out like that, there's an 80% chance they're about to spoil
Oh.
the game for me.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Peachy, I said that exact thing, and then I
Every time
when I
this
was in
time,
your
I'm like,
chat.
Every
I
time
got
I
backseated
didn't
playing
backseat
Phasma.
you.
game, and I'm like, okay, mods, look out for this one. But no, a lot of times it's fine, or they get like a little enthusiastic. So I'll just remind them, like, hey, when I say no backseating, I also have a backseating command that I pin to chat. But when I
That's a
say
good
no
idea.
backseating, it means don't tell me how to play the game. Don't give me hints. Don't say this next part's my favorite. Don't tell me anything. Wait 2 minutes until I do it, and then we can talk about it. Like, do not foreshadow things. Do not ask me if I forgot to pick up XYZ item. Just
When in doubt, message a mod.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
so like anytime we start, I'm like, hey, just a reminder, I don't accept any kind of backseating, any kind of like hints. If I need help, I will literally never ask chat because they always end up spoiling anyway. If I need help, I'll go to a spoiler-free walkthrough, which I always have up anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
No,
for me, I've tried, like I've never really been comfortable in starting a game online, like brand new vibes, because I do like to discover it on my own and myself. And that just made me realize, like, I feel like, yeah, that backseating truly like is not fun. And kudos to everyone who, are comfortable in, just experiencing something new, and because you can't really again control if someone's going to spoil it for you or not. So that's like something I'm wanting to get more comfortable in doing in the future. So it's really good to like listen and talk about that, because again, for me, I learned gaming in a different way, where it was something that I could just play offline. First, I was a viewer. I was tuning into people's streams, finding the love to be able to share that like passion of gaming with other amazing people. Like it's like so amazing. So I love to hear about this.
one of my
Yeah.
favorite
Like-
backseating moments though is when you've played a game multiple times and then people still try to backseat you and you're like, no, I already know. Because I play a lot of Phasmophobia and I have people backseat me on that game. And I'm like, I get it, guys, but this is my obsession also. You don't got to hold my hand that much.
Sorry, Kat, did you have something to add for us?
Oh, I think like
Yes.
to play devil's advocate in terms of backseating, it's like, do more women get backseating, or like are we just better at asking questions? And I
That's so
think
valid though, but
we can
also
have like
like
differing
it is
opinions,
an
But I
issue.
was
but it's
without
fine as like someone remains respectful and mindful. And in terms of like knowing when something is overtly toxic or just a subtle bias, I think it comes down to knowing your own values and stances, where you're able to move on and like where you're able to stand firm. So I think that a big part of being a woman and a woman online is knowing where your values hold and where you can make space to give
Yeah.
grievances and, like Sav said, like have a teaching moment as well.
Like one of the things that hits me hard is I as a neurodivergent person, and I also am an external processor, and I say things rhetorically. When I enter a new area, and I'm a big lore fiend, right? So I'll be like, piecing things together in my head that like, did Miyazaki mean this? Oh, and so I'll go into this. I'm like, oh, is this the
Yeah.
place where the prince was? I wonder if he's connected to this. You know, and I'll say it. They'll be like, wow, she figured it out. And I was like, shut up, I didn't mean that. You know, like, please don't answer me if I
Talking
ask
to
a
my other
question.
self.
Actually, please don't. Please don't. Yes. And
Yeah.
so I have like little commands that, you know, fire off and remind people that I say things out loud, but
Yeah.
that's this. Please don't
Yeah.
answer, you know. And it can be confusing though. I mean, when you think about it, how many different environments? That's why I like to have that curiosity also as well, like you were talking about, you know, having like when I have the capacity for it, if I can approach a situation with more of a kindness and a curiosity, because I'm like, how many different streams can we go into with different rules and different people, and maybe like
Mhm.
you know, and all anybody really wants is, or at least what I like to think, what people want is to belong and to be a part of a community and to contribute to it, right? Like I think that there is a very small a small percentage of like nefarious bad actors that just go in trying to burn it all down, right? You know, people want to be a part of something, and that they love the game. They're excited to to share it with others. And so I try to, you know, steer it away, but it does happen more.
Oh, you have an Animal Crossing
Ooh,
pillow. Oh my god, I want it. Sorry.
I do.
Isabel and Tom.
Mhm,
I'm
I
And
so
love
thank
it
sorry. That
too.
was so random of
That was
me.
so cute.
No.
No, seriously though,
Just
thank you so much for saying, hey, thanks for having this discussion. We do want to, of course, shout out to the Women's Guild for putting this together. I think there was like
Yeah.
over 160 creators talking today,
Yeah.
going over the just chatting category for women in power. And thank you for the opportunity to use our platform for things that matter and having important conversations. And of course, you know, everyone involved in this discussion is so important because they've taken their time and energy out of their day to make this possible, and also are sharing their vulnerability, which is, I believe, like it's a very
yeah.
strong thing to do, is to have that type of transparency over the things that we encounter, because as streamers, as content creators, as entertainers, it can be really difficult to have the discussions about the around these topics, because you don't want to come off as complaining, right? You don't want to come off as like, oh, my life. So
Mhm.
because this is a privileged position to be in, to be able to make content, right? Like we know that this
Yeah.
having a voice, having a platform, being able to play video games for a living, you know, whatever it might be, you know, we don't want to come off as ungrateful for that in a way. So it's hard to bring up these really
Mhm.
important discussions, because there is a lot of that we go through that's specific to us, and having bringing us together, having this platform, having these discussions are so important. So thank you so much and everybody in chat that's joining us, especially outside of the stream times that we normally I was just talking about
Mhm.
the sun is up, you know, but
Yeah.
I feel like these communities are really important, and y'all coming together for your creators is a really beautiful thing to see, and having these discussions and adding to that. And you know, I feel like it is important to have that great community, to have that community
Ah,
that will protect you. And
Yeah.
while you're protecting yourself, your community is also protecting you. You know, we have all put in ways to develop and developed, you know, the communities that reflect the streamers' values. And so what are some things that you have put into place, either for yourself or your community, that you believe will actually help? And I'd love if Kat, if you'd like to weigh in on this first.
I think, echoing what I said before, I think it's really sometimes you have to sit down with yourself and to know your values and stuff. For myself, as a personal anecdote, I started streaming in 2020, like a lot of people, you know, just looking for something to do, looking for friends to play games with, because offline none of my friends play games. I was like, oh, I do like to play, but I want to play with people. And first starting out, obviously it was a hobby, and you have your own boundaries and rules and such, but it's such a different space, and the internet is such a different place 5 years ago, 10 years ago, a year ago. And something that I found is really good for myself as well as for my community is to know my values. Sometimes when something is a little bit more subtle or feels a bit icky, instead of reacting right away, maybe I'll make a note of it down. I always have a notepad next to me when I'm streaming, so I can just make notes of ideas. Again, that ADHD brain. I'm like, what's going on? Well, are we gonna check this off or not? But like sometimes you just sit with something, and if it feels a little icky, then you reevaluate. And I've also allowed myself the grace to change what I feel comfortable about and what I don't, because I think as there's growth within your communities, within your spaces, within your online presence, it can change. And people who have been with you for a long time may not align with that anymore. And maybe they do, but you have to give them the opportunity to know where you're at as well. So I think a lot of self-reflection has kept me and my community safe, as well as like a lot of journaling and just like looking into like what's good for me, what's good for everyone, and how do I make myself feel at peace, but also have things where I can stand firm on and be a voice to people who maybe don't feel as comfortable speaking these out loud. So a lot of introspective, I feel like, is good to keep you
We
safe.
love an emotionally intelligent queen. Let's
yeah.
go.
Mhm.
The reflection, the
Mhm.
diving into things. My goodness.
The
I love
notepad.
to see it. It's inspiring.
Yeah, seeing a lot of amazing, amazing, and unique people who aren't afraid of being themselves on Twitch. I mean, you don't see that. I mean, I feel like for me online, I used to always see like, copy and paste. And I think discovering Twitch and being able to see that it's okay to be yourself, is so refreshing and beautiful. And yeah, representation really matters. And I never got the exposure to that. It's a whole different world in a way that I wouldn't have discovered without Twitch and without being curious. And I don't know, it's really beautiful
So
to
like
see
learning from others
representation.
and like taking what you
Yes.
like and then also rejecting, maybe that's not for me.
Definitely.
I love that you
Definitely.
mentioned, that your boundaries change to Kat. You said that sometimes I can look at myself and say something that sat with me before maybe doesn't feel so good now. And it is, you
Yeah.
have the freedom to change 100% at any time. If you were comfortable with something before and you're not comfortable with it anymore, you are 100,000 million bajillion% within your rights to communicate that. And I believe that it's really important to adding on to what you said, Kat, about your values. I do believe that it's really important to write them down. I think that
Yes.
actually like physically writing down what you're comfortable with, what your boundaries and your values are, what you want people to take away from your streams. That's something I've done personally with my community is I know that people aren't going to always remember what I've said or what I've done in stream. I know that I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but people do remember how you made them feel. And whenever I want to foster an environment of belonging and of being heard and listened to and seen. And in order to do that, I have to acknowledge myself and I have to see myself. I can't, be a hypocrite over here. I have to first acknowledge my own, the way that interactions and either online, in gaming, in the community, whatever it might be, make me feel. And then I write down, what my specific boundaries are, what lines I'm willing to cross, and what the conditions are for that, and then what my core values are, and then using that as like the pillar of the of the stream is really helpful. What are some other things that you all have put into place for your community that help create the space that you would like to see as far as tone and energy and protecting yourself?
I think if you are, I agree, you need to figure out what your boundaries are, what you're comfortable with. Once you have that, I think once you vocalize that and you enforce it. So that's the other thing. A lot of people are like, well, this is what I'm comfortable with, but you have to enforce that in your space. Once you are open about those things, and by enforcing, I'm not saying you have to yell at people if they're, crossing a boundary, but like keep open communication about it. I think that's how you foster community that reflects your own core values. So now I have, like we were talking about backseating before, I'm very, very aggressively against backseating. And when new people come in and backseat, someone in chat, before I even say anything, someone else in chat will be like, there's no backseating, or they'll be like, taps the pinned post. Be like, just a reminder. And I'm like, it's funny, like when someone who's not even a moderator does it, where I'm like, so like my community knows, like, don't do that. So for anything, if you are open and in communication about like what is okay and what's not okay in your space, one, you're going to bring community over that aligns with that, and two, they're also going to be the kinds of people that will help to foster those values as well.
Yeah, and adding on to that, I think you also have to be okay with other people not being okay with what you're saying, what your boundaries are and stuff. Like sometimes you'll get negative feedback, and I think to keep yourself safe, your community safe, it's good to remember that it's probably not personal, it's not on you, and yeah, like as long as you're okay with taking the bad with the good, that's just life, right? Online and offline.
Yeah, I
People
think
are
that they're
different, and
exactly.
that's the cool thing about Twitch for me is I can find a lot of people that are like-minded, and then they become a community, and then we attract more and more people who are like-minded, and like it makes me really happy to be like just out there being my cute, adorable self on stream, and people enjoying that and seeing that, oh, this is okay to be this way on Twitch, and like help people figure out stuff about themselves. Like when I've helped like 4, 5, maybe 6 people figure out they were trans, and that's just like I wish I'd had that when I was younger, because like that's such a fulfilling thing. Like it feels like I'm making the world a better place, at least for a few small people. Yeah,
And I
you
feel like
might
that's
know.
what, yeah, it's what it's all about. Like being able to help is something that always was like, oh, you're doing that just to, people please in a way where it's a looked upon like badly. But I feel like being able to have the courage to be vulnerable and share, especially online, is important to represent and bring awareness to, because again, we were saying this earlier, like you won't go up to someone in public doing that, like, like saying something that out of, right left field or whatever the saying is, right? If, people in my community don't like that, then that's okay. But also shutting out the negative thing can be a good thing. It's healthy to do so. But in times where I was just ignorant in a way, it wasn't good on my mental health. But also being able to face both sides, good and bad, it helps me so much.
And you're
So
representing that, like you said. That's I love that, Cass. I love that you mentioned,
mhm.
you're not everybody's gonna like you. That's all right. We don't
Yeah,
need to be liked.
yeah,
That is not
yeah.
that is not a need, right? Like
Exactly. My
you
space, yeah. You can join, and it doesn't mean that you have to stay at your seat. You can go stretch, go get water,
Yes,
like
exactly. You can't
I
you're
hope
not
you
for
have a good day.
everybody.
But yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
So,
I
yeah.
put habanero sauce on, like, almost everything I eat, right? Does
Yeah.
that does
Yeah,
everybody load their
Sounds so
stuff
good
down
right
with
now.
hot sauce? Is that for
you don't
everyone?
have to
I'm
do
No.
eating
it.
at Sav's
No.
house, so
Yeah,
anyway.
come on over,
I'm
come on
right
over.
there.
I love spice. That's not for everybody, you know what I mean? So,
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think that it's really important, but I feel like, that's another thing that women have in common a lot of the times
Mm,
is that we feel like we have the need to please everybody and to fit
yeah.
into every single little box that is given. And
Yeah.
it's really hard when you're online because you're on we don't
Mhm.
control who walks through our front door, right?
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
Literally.
you can kick them out, you can get a
Yeah.
bouncer, but you're
Yeah.
basically at a bar, you're basically a bartender,
Ex-
right? And
Yeah.
you're gonna have your regulars that are safe people that you can talk to every day, right? You're gonna
Mhm.
have the random out of towners that come in and they might be a little kind of like you're keeping an eye
Yeah.
on them, but they haven't really done anything wrong. They've just said a
Mhm.
few little, hey, can I ask you a question things,
Oh
and they're
God.
over there at the end of the bar and they're probably had a red eye or whatever. And
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
have, but you know what? At the end of the day, you've got your bouncers, you got your moderators. They can kick out anybody
Exactly.
who doesn't really vibe with you. And even though we have that fear whenever you can't control who comes in, you do get to control who goes out. And I feel like having
Yeah.
having those boundaries, knowing what you're comfortable with, writing those down, like those are all such great things to say, especially in protecting yourself in this space is really, really important. Before we move on, to not only how people are treated, but how they're seen. I would love to know like from each person, and we can go around. Maybe we can learn about like discussing, because Cass brought up such a wonderful point about, people see what we do. They see how we react to things. They see how we're treated.
Mhm.
And not everybody wants to stream. Not everybody wants to put themselves out there, so it is important to have that representation in that experience. What is something that you wish you had known earlier before you started streaming when it comes to protecting yourself, when it comes to cultivating that community and protecting your community? What is something that you wish you knew earlier? I'd love to hear from like Luna first, and then Angelic, and then go to Peachy and Cass and Kat.
Um, well, when I started streaming on Twitch, I didn't know hate raids were a thing, and that was one of my first experiences on Twitch.
Oh.
Oh my
I
god.
almost stopped
Yeah.
streaming in my second month of streaming. I've been going for like 2+ years now, and that almost made me quit. But
Can you
I
explain what a
went,
hate raid is to anybody who
yeah,
might be?
yeah. So basically, a bunch of bot accounts with horrible, awful names started following me. And at the time, I had public follows, and it would do a text to speech thing for the name of the person that followed, which I do anonymous follows now. Uh, and they would have horrible names, like telling me basically to end my life.
Oh my god.
And it was like 400 all queued up in a row.
I would like to. I want to
And
hug you.
thanks. But it actually ended up okay. That day was awful. And then I wasn't affiliate yet. So I couldn't clear my activity queue. So it just said, this person followed you, this person followed you, this person followed you. And so I went to some Twitch forums and complained. And I was like, hey, how do I get rid of this? I can't do anything because I'm not an affiliate. And a very sweet streamer who is on a hiatus right now, her name's Krabby Moon. She basically rated me with a bunch of love, got me a bunch of follows, got me to affiliate immediately so that I could just clear all that out. And I was just like, oh, okay, this place is scary, but if you do it right and you find community, this is a really nice place. But you need to know,
You gotta dig
like, you
through the
gotta go
poo-poo
find
That's
sometimes.
people.
girlhood.
Yeah, exactly. And she basically, without her, I wouldn't have my channel right now. I would have quit. I was gonna quit. And every time she shows up in my chat, we both just cry about how we met and how sweet that whole thing was. And like, so that person was trying to make me, that's what they wanted. They wanted me to stop streaming. But they did the opposite. They made me more resolute in my desire to stream and drove me towards community. So yeah, just like don't, if you're not alone. I guess that's what I wish I had known. Is like, there's got friends out there. You just haven't met them yet.
I love your origin story. It's so good.
You're gonna make us all cry now.
super
You're right.
Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that, Angelic.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what you wish you would have known before you started?
Dang, I don't know how to follow that. No, one of the things that I wish I would have known when I first started was that it is okay to ban people to protect yourself. Um, after getting my like after some of the people that have like sexualized my VTuber and like made comments about me being short, because like I joke about being short all the time, but like I was very hesitant always to ban people. I was always scared of it. I was scared of it. But like I had a couple guys that came in that like kept talking about how they were gonna pick me up and throw me over their shoulder, and like I have trauma with that. I have like PTSD type stuff with that, and I was like very very uncomfortable. But like I did end up banning them, but I was very hesitant at first because I was like, and I was trying every which way to be like move on, like just stop with this, and like, no, you're not doing that, and like they would not take that no. And I was like, this is really concerning. So like I did end up finally banning them, but like I was always very scared and hesitant to ban people.
That is so true, and it. I always like to say that a a band viewer, like the right viewers, are so much better than more viewers, right?
Yeah.
You having it doesn't matter if keeping that person that makes you feel uncomfortable around because you want to bolster the numbers or anything is not worth it. You're not
No.
cultivating a community. You're
Mhm.
just making yourself hate streaming, and you're making if you're uncomfortable,
Your
your
chat is
chat is
uncomfortable
uncomfortable.
too. Yeah.
And they're not gonna
Yeah.
come
So
back.
true.
And even if that
And
person, like, I'm sure that we've all like been in the like there could be somebody who has been a pretty heavy contributor, you know, to your stream, and so you have like that weight on you, like you're like, oh well, they gift a bunch of subs or they do a bunch of donos, and
Mm.
that's you know, that's really hard to, but at the end of the day, no, like you are allowed to ban anybody. You don't owe anybody anything. They can get out of your house, you know, like it really
Mhm.
means so much more to have fewer people that are the right kind of people than to have people in there that aren't a good reflection of your community and what you want to be a part of.
100%. And that's luckily I learned that.
I that's such great advice. What about you, Peachy? What is something that you wish you
So
knew?
I'm gonna bring up a little story from a couple years ago. So anyone in my community that's been there for a while is going to recognize this. But I had an application open for additional mods. And someone I had known for about 12 or 13 years um, in the cosplay community and in the streaming community applied. And I was like, oh my God, you know me so well. Like, you'd be perfect as a mod. Modded them. And a month later, they started bullying my community in Discord with like direct attacks of just being like really mean. And I was like, not only do I now have to ban someone, I have to ban someone I've known for over a decade that is my moderator. And that was where I had to go back and go, okay, let's figure out what my boundaries are. That was the click for me on vocalizing my boundaries. So once I started doing that, I found my community to be a lot more positive when I was like, hey, and again, I don't ban people like immediately. That was an immediate ban. I was like, I'm not even talking to you. I can't even believe this is happening. So that was like an immediate ban. But, you know, if someone says something that I'm not, it's hard to read. Like, I'm reading a chat. I can't always read your tone. So a lot of times I'll like ask, it's also the neurodivergent in me where I'm like, I don't know if I get this. I might be reading this wrong. So, you know, I'll wait for clarification before I'm like, get out. Like, but having boundaries was really, that was the eye-opening event that told me like, girl, you're not doing something you should be doing. And that was when I started doing that. And it's very funny because I'm now a mentor at the Twitch Women's Guild where I deal in moderation and tools, and setting boundaries is a large part of that, because I would rather have people establish those things at the beginning than wait for an unfortunate event to do it. I promise you it'd be a lot easier to have set those before that happened. So yeah, I mean, sometimes we just get a really bad poo-poo event that happens, and that's when we go, crap, what do I have to do?
How do I it's all
I'd
learning
rather,
experience. You learn on
yeah,
the fly so much, right?
it's
As
better to
in
be
this job.
proactive than reactive for sure.
That is a good one. That is a good one. What about you, Kat?
I think we had so many amazing takeaways, but I keep coming back to the representation and also like asking questions. So I think one of my favorite sayings is you can't be what you can't see. And sometimes you have to be that person for somebody. Like if you wish you had X, Y, and Z when you were growing up, or you were just looking for that space where you feel comfortable and safe. Like you can be that for yourself as well for so many others. And also when you're first starting, don't be afraid to ask questions, connect with different people, whether that be, you know, someone who's also just started streaming or someone who has streamed for a longer time than you. Like some people you know, not comfortable or don't have the time or energy to answer questions, but I found that a lot of people, especially on Twitch, are so happy to help, so comfortable sharing the lessons that they've learned, just like these that we're talking about today here. And sometimes some of your pain points emotionally or technically, like technical difficulties, they are a lot of other people's pain points as well. And you can really bond over that experience. So if you, something I wish I knew, I suppose, was don't be afraid to ask more questions of more people, because everyone is so, so kind and so, so happy to help.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's wonderful. How about you, Cass? Like, how do you? What's something that you wish you knew?
I think I feel like I wish I knew that it was. Hmm, I always was afraid to start being, speak in general in conversations. I wasn't the friend in the friend group that was comfortable in feeling the, silence in the space, if that makes sense. And I think I wish I was able to tell myself back then that it's okay to be like uncomfortable, but don't let that like stop you, from continuing to grow. Basically, I remember just really wanting to be confident in having conversations with other people. It's okay to be scared, but just not don't let that like stop you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what do they say? Like, the answer to your dreams lives on the other side of
Mhm.
your comfort zone. Like the
Yep.
comfort zone is a nice place, but nothing grows there.
Yep.
Which is so ominous. It's
Mhm.
just like, no, hell
Yeah.
no.
Don't
Sometimes
let the
what
fear of
if I just
striking
want to be
out stop you
comfortable?
from
Like,
playing the
like, I
game.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little Hillary Duff moment.
Yeah, I mean, I really do appreciate the fact that you mentioned, how like being afraid to speak up and everything, because I feel like we talked about how women are treated in this space, right? In all these
Mhm.
gaming spaces and on platforms such as this. And I think that the other side of that coin is how women are perceived. And a lot
Yeah.
of these experiences don't just come out of nowhere, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
they come
Yeah.
from because they come from the expectations that people already have. And I'm
Yep.
curious, like if you all feel this too, like because sometimes it feels like there's a different standard for women
Mm.
as gamers versus women as creators.
Mm.
Like you can be good at
Ooh.
games, but there's still this extra layer at how you are expected to present yourself. So has anybody noticed that divide?
I definitely have noticed that divide, but I think discovering Twitch and the gaming community within Twitch, there's so much more like layers to being able to, yes, play games, but also be a creator and creating content aside of that. And it can coincide or coexist together. It doesn't have to be this or just that. It's okay to be girly, but also want to play games like that aren't too cozy. But it's also okay, just like being yourself and being able to highlight that today, like is a dream come true, truly.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much. What about what else do we think? Do we think that there is like an extra layer of for women or like women as gamers versus creators or anything like that?
I personally have like rejected the content creator title
mm,
because I just stream video games. Like I just want to stream video games. The push that I need to create content outside of my minimal free time to play video games on stream is it's too much. I honestly like so I've
mm,
just rejected that entire segment completely. Um
And that's so
I
fair
don't
and
I
so
don't do
valid
any.
too.
yeah, it can be
Mhm.
overwhelming.
It's just not
Like
fun. Like I don't have fun doing it,
mhm.
so I just
If you
don't.
don't have fun, yeah, no, like the
Yeah.
point of being able to have these chances and opportunities, whether you love like to, record or create content from your gaming or not, the opportunity to have this and experience this, you're for me, I want to be able to enjoy it. And if I continue on doing something that I don't enjoy, then it kind of defeats the purpose and the reason why I fell
Exactly.
in love with it, you know?
I
Yeah,
just hate the word content.
I
I
don't like it
consider
at all.
myself a performer. Thank you. I am not. Blech. Ew.
Hmm.
content creator.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's I do feel like there is when I think about this topic when we were discussing what to talk about, and I thought about this, and what it made me think of was trying to describe to people who aren't in the Twitch universe what I do for a living.
Mm.
And I feel like there's a very different stigma around I'm a content creator
Mm-hmm.
versus when a woman says it. or
Yeah.
versus
I'm
when a
gonna go
man
with
says it.
Instagram model is probably the first thing anyone is gonna think when
Right.
a
Mhm.
woman
Right.
says content
Mhm.
Yep.
creator.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
There are these things that when we're talking
True.
about what did these bias come from?
Yeah.
Where did this stigma come from, right? Like where like
Yeah.
this the way that we're treated didn't pop out of nowhere. What are these
Mhm.
expectations? And when you say, "Oh, I play games on the internet," and people watch and they're like, "How does are you sure?
How does that work?
Is that really
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
and I've literally had somebody ask me what I wore while I did this,
Well,
Oh my.
I
and
can
I'm like,
I can also I will say when I first told my grandmother that I did it, her first question was, "Does that mean you're having sex online?" And I was like, "What?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
Games, Mom,
that's
games.
Wow.
I even said video games like 3 times, and she
Wow.
still jumped to that because
Mhm.
that is not something to agree with.
I
Mhm.
Sorry,
think
the dog barked.
maybe it stems from like Savannah asking like where does this all come from? This like bias and
Yeah,
connotation.
but then
I think it's like entertainment. You have to go back to like the film industry as well as like
yeah,
Mhm.
Hollywood or everything like that. That's where women first got their, I guess, starts as performers, or even you go back to theater and Broadway. And obviously the first women to perform on stage, the first women to be in a speaking role or in a lead role, not as, just like a love interest. They had to defy all of these sort of biases and break through. And because some of the first roles, you are just taking a single line, you are just being a love interest, but it takes small steps, not just within like women groups, but within like, POC and every other marginalized community. You have to start somewhere, and every time you enter a new frontier, like I know there've always been women gamers and women content creators, but once something becomes a little bit more of the norm and you see an influx of like the mainstream or new people, there are just going to be these biases that carry over from other industries as well. So I think that's where it all comes from. And I think like we here today are doing a service by speaking about it and either confirming some of those things, because biases do come from somewhere, like as much like
Mhm.
I love all things girly, all things feminine, but I'm also being introduced to first person shooter games and everything like that as well. So
Mhm.
I think like understanding where things come from and the history it has behind that really helps to open your eyes to like why maybe people think this way, or this is why things are the way they are.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody bring up, how women were portrayed like in early media when it comes
Yeah.
to content
Mhm.
creation. I think that is a beautiful original thought that you brought there, because that brings
Mhm.
a lot of history and knowledge into.
Yeah.
'Cause, I could talk about women in film all day if you just I seriously could. I love that you brought that up, because that perception is very important, to touch upon, and I do wanna say, I do believe that there is an extra layer, put on to women whenever it comes to
Absolutely.
gaming, and it is, one of the things, when, like, people who play. I know that you play retro games. We were talking about retro gaming. I know that they're speed runners, challenge runners. Um, and I have so many people that I respect and admire, and that, I have on my team and everything. And they will be holding world record places for these things. And their content is commented on about what they're wearing, or that they have attention because they're a girl, or that they
Mhm.
only did this because they're, or that, and bringing attention to the things that don't matter, to undermine their accomplishments because of the fact that they're a woman in gaming. And
Mhm.
those types of expectations, because it almost seems like it's breaking these people's brains that, like, no, yeah, she's better than you at these games,
Or maybe she's just
Mhm.
like,
more
and so you have to,
engaging.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
and you have to
actually
break
have,
it
I think
down.
something happened last week. I was in my friend's chat. Now, I have known this girl again through the cosplay community. I've known her for like 15 plus years. She was speed running. She's working on her speed run to get it to to just get higher ranked on the leaderboard. She's number 4, by the way, on the leaderboard for this particular game. So she's number 4, and she's trying to get higher up on the ranking, which is now hard because it's by like seconds at this point. Someone came into her chat and was like, it feels like you're speedrunning to be performative. And she was like, what does that mean? Like, what do you even mean? And he's like, well, you're just doing it to fit in. And I'm like, first of all, she's a hot girl. If she's doing it to fit in, there's easier ways
Just need to fit
Yeah.
in.
than speedrunning on Twitch. I'm like, no one is speedrunning games on Twitch to fit in. I promise you, that's not anyone's motivation.
That's a
But
lot to
also, she's
unpack.
already number 4. Like,
Wow.
Pretty sure that's past fitting in.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm pretty sure we're breaking molds here. We're not fitting in here.
we're
But
not
Break that
fitting
glass
in the
ceiling.
molds. We're breaking them. Thank you. We're getting out of those boxes. Okay,
Right, she's
stop.
literally breaking a glass ceiling. She's not fitting in anymore. But it was such a weird thing.
Didn't
and
just break it, she smashed it.
This guy wouldn't stop harping on her about how she was speedrunning to be performative. I don't speedrun because it's too chaotic, and I watch people speedrun and I have panic attacks while I do it. I'm like, I don't understand how they're doing it. It's not easy. No one is doing it.
I always get in a trance when I'm watching speedruns. I'm like, oh,
There are
wow.
points where I
I
stop
get
breathing and I'm like, are they gonna do
Anxious
it?
for them.
You do.
Especially if they're
No.
going for those goals and those like records. I get anxious. Like
Right.
my anxiety when I watch speedrunners is so bad.
But I've never seen comments. The comments I see when women are speedrunning, the comments I see in their chat, I've never seen in a man's speedrunning
exactly.
chat.
Yeah, 100%.
And Jack's saying, like, I hate the idea of due to being a woman created so many extra layers of things to worry about, not being recognized the way you should for your achievements. That's so true. Like, you get one of the reasons why I founded Guidance of Grace is because I looked at all of these people that were getting shout outs in like gaming online publications for doing things for the first time, and I'm like, where is the acknowledgement for these women who are doing these things, like beating Elden Ring with like your voice for the first time? Like, why is
level
that
1 speedrunning Elden Ring, which I've seen multiple times?
why is this not
women?
everywhere? Like, why aren't we being hello, hi, you know what I mean? Like where's the representation here? And it's like and anytime that, you know, one of the accounts, I deleted the bird app or whatever, but I remember like whenever somebody of those accounts would the Dex whatever would post about a new achievement, if it was a woman, the comments were just horrible, you know, like the thread would just be just harping on, and you don't see that when it comes to a man. So that, you know, I do appreciate everybody, you know, like opening up about that, you know, the pressure coming from the pressure like to be twice as good and then also be criticized
Yeah.
for it. And so in that case, like
yes.
does that, like, do you ever feel like there's not only that pressure to be twice as good, but like that there is like that pressure to present a certain version of yourself? I know that we were just talking about people pleasing, like with Cass, you know, like, is there do you ever feel like you are under pressure to be taken seriously?
It can be really difficult for sure to live up to certain expectations.
I feel like there are a lot of standards online, and
Yeah.
you know, like, I feel like especially as a woman, you know, you get these boxes that people want to put you in. They want
Yeah.
that's a survival mechanism. That's like the natural
Yeah.
thing for brains to do. They're like, where does this person fit? Do I fit in with them? And like, Luna, do you ever feel like there are boxes that people have tried to put women in gaming in?
Oh, 100%. And like one of my chatters, Lena, said earlier, even in like the speedrunning scene, which organizationally, like GDQ is one of the most supportive groups of like women and queer people, and still like the whole speedrunning scene, like there's still a lot of, you know, just biases in there. And like I considered becoming a speedrunner, and then like the main factor for not doing that is being a woman in the space and just like all the things that entails, and like I decided not to, like, just I don't know, it's like just there's so much extra to think about. It's the mental load thing again.
Yeah.
Just every single decision that we make is just like there's all these other factors, like how are people going to interpret this, or are they going to think this because of this? Like I I don't know.
And,
Sorry,
and we
I forgot the original question.
no, we're just talking about being in boxes, and I think that it is important for you to speak on the things that you are worried about trying because
Mhm.
of bias and thing. I think that it's important for us to bring that to light and to always touch on that, because it does point out the severity when somebody doesn't want to get into something that they think that they might like because they're afraid of the backlash. Can you imagine somebody being like, "Oh man, I'm afraid to play football because what if
Mm,
they, what if I get picked on for being a jock?" Like,
yeah.
what? Could you imagine like, "Oh, I'm afraid to go into film." Like, what? You know what I mean? But it's like,
I've
"Oh, well, I'm a woman, so this is a scary thing for me because I might be
I've
treated
actually
badly."
been
That's
placed in all different types of boxes. I've
yeah.
been told I can't like sports because I'm a girl. I can't like
Mhm.
football or hockey or something because I'm a girl. I've been told I'm not girly enough. I'm too foul mouthed. I'm too sarcastic. I'm too this and that. And like when I've told people like I stream video games. I've also gotten the yeah, but would anybody actually want to watch you type
Mm.
of thing. And so it's been interesting being put into you see my VTuber going up and down. That's because the dogs keep making me get up and down. Um, but it's been interesting being fit into all these different boxes and like basically being told I'm not girly enough or I'm being too emotional as a person. And I'm like,
Mm.
can I just be me?
Mm.
You're reminding me of America Ferrera's speech in the Barbie movie.
Oh, the part that made me
Right?
cry for like
Yeah.
4
That
Oh
minutes
my
one, and
god.
she's
straight.
just like,
Yes.
you're too sad, you're too skinny, you're too emotional, you're too serious. No, it's serious, and it that does all translate into gaming, into being a woman in gaming, and in speaking of these things, of these role models, of these pop references, and of these boxes, and being girly and being this and being that. Kat, you mentioned earlier, and I think this is a really interesting angle. Like when you think about these earlier online spaces that were like defined by super graphics, we were talking about glitter. You could have had word art. Maybe you were playing like Paramore in the background, right? You had like all these different ways. In early 2000s, internet was definitely a nostalgic time, but like it also had very defining the branding and visuals, and being a woman on the internet at that time. How do you think that compares to now? Like how do you feel like things from that earlier space like have changed? Have they improved? Or how do you feel like they've changed really?
I think like in the early 2000s, like many girls grew up like with browser-based games, like mini clips and sites that are tied to brands like Polly Pocket or Barbie or like MySpaces, where they are like really focused on creativity, fashion, and storytelling. Today, those kind of like dedicated spaces for girl game spaces are like much less visible, and I kind of miss them. I'm like, where are my mini clips games? Where can I just play a whole bunch of different games and get sucked into a whole world as well as like a whole brand? I'm gonna throw that like back to you guys because I'm like, I don't know where they are, guys. What have you guys seen? How
I
have you seen
I
it
can
like
tell you
evolve?
where they are
Where are
actually. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm old. I'm gonna be 40 this year. So I've been playing video games my entire life. I've been playing video games since the late 80s, and they've always been here. And for some reason, marketing has hidden them. Video games in the 80s and 90s were always marketed towards multi-gendered families.
Mm.
And there's this weird switch, Xbox, that started making games for boys, and then games were for boys. Games were never marketed for just boys at the beginning. Like it was always a family thing. It was always mixed gendered children in a cluster playing games together and advertising. Um, and then Xbox decided this is going to be a bro dude space only, and then that like that is where it erupted, was like the late 90s, early 2000s, where we were just hyper vigilant on testosterone poisoning and making boys be gamers. And it's super weird to see the history of how marketing just completely changed. It's just like the way big corporations have marketed it as like, oh, girls can play video games now too. And I'm like, excuse me, I've been in the trenches since the NES. Thank you.
I
But
actually
like,
think Twitch is a big reason it's coming back too.
I think so
which
too.
is-
I think
yeah.
having it more between YouTube, Twitch, having like a space where women can make themselves present. Because you know, if we don't get the opportunity, we have to make the opportunity. So I think having women present in these spaces
Build
is
that table.
for
Yeah.
real. Who's glass ceiling? I'm making it. And it's underneath me. But like I think having these spaces where we can push these things is making it more known that women game, not that women are new to gaming. It's just that we've been here behind the scenes fighting with the controller with our siblings since the before times. Like it's just this weird marketing ploy that had this very weird change in like around the year 2000.
That is such a great history lesson. You know, I appreciate the intelligence and the perspectives. Right, chat? Isn't it amazing to hear from each and every person on this panel? Everybody is so well read, insightful, and willing to share their experiences. You know, we've talked a lot about our challenges and our barriers, and I want to spend this last section focusing on where we go from here. You know, I believe that it's one thing to make a critique on the state of affairs, but I do believe in positive action. I believe that those things can start with conversation. We have such brilliant minds gathered here today and wonderful representation. So thank you so much for being here, and I'd love to hear what our thoughts are, because the reality is, you know, we're not just participants in these spaces. We are shaping them. And it is important to know that everything in this present moment will be history one day. And as much or as little as we can control in the world, the things that we can impact in the here and the now, and whenever the state of things seems like it's just so wacky and so much bigger than us, it is important to focus on that which we can control, to focus on those shapes of those spaces that we can shape. And so what do? You know, like when we talk about leadership in gaming spaces, I think that oftentimes we people picture titles or platforms, but what does meaningful leadership look like to you? I'd love to, like, for me, like, starting out, I stumbled onto Twitch 5 years ago. I did not know what Twitch was. I did not grow up gaming. I was touring and performing all throughout my childhood, and I knew so little about gaming that I bought my PS4 off of Facebook Marketplace during the pandemic and had the shutdown. I had a 4. My son was 4 at the time, and he didn't have any electronics. We didn't have iPads, anything. He was in Montessori, and then all of a sudden I was at home, and I had no way to keep him busy, and I didn't have my career, which was, you know, music that I'd been doing for 12 years at that point, as my sole career. And so I was at my wit's end, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to get an iPad. Let's get a PlayStation, because at least it's tactile. At least, like, it's dexterity, right? Get this PS4. I'm thinking, let's do Sega Genesis, something like a little less stimulating, like maybe, I don't know, you know, like all the classic pack stuff. And then I find this game called Bloodborne. I'm like, what's this? Ooh, this looks like Lovecraftian, like, you know, eldritch horror. Oh, yeah, that is right up my alley. Let's check it out. Blah, blah, blah. And I did not know that you are supposed to die, and then when you go to the dream, you're supposed to pick up weapons. That's how little gaming experience I had, like zero. And so the first enemy that you encounter in that game, I beat to death with my fists. And it took me hours. It's a scourge beast. It's a werewolf. And I thought I
You
kept
did it.
dying. There were these creepy little skelly dudes on the stairs, like offering up weapons. I didn't know I didn't know I could take them. And I kept dying and dying and dying and dying. And I was hooked. I was hooked. And then I was a
so
soul screamer ever
cool.
since because I loved the feeling of doing it over and over and over and over and over again. And then finally getting it. Oh, I was like,
Oh.
where do I find more of this? Where do I find more of this? And so I found on Reddit that there was this thing called Twitch and there were streamers there. And so I streamed straight from my PS4. And that is how that's how I found Twitch. And for me, that the backstory is important because this is how I went into Twitch, not even knowing that people could talk to each other. I didn't know that I was so confused by chat. I was so confused by I didn't realize that person was live and answering the chat. I didn't realize that people could talk to me. I had to look. I didn't have a computer, so I had to look at the chat on my phone. So as somebody super new to Twitch, super new, I also realized that there were a lot of barriers. There were a lot of things that, as somebody with autism and ADHD is I already struggle in a lot of social cue situations. And then I felt like there were these unspoken rules in Twitch about things that you don't say and that you don't do. And I got really kind of in my own bubble. And then I had the Souls group. That's great. But then the Women's Guild came along and we had this leadership with Coco and Chelsea and this group of women together. And it was the first time in my life that I ever experienced having feminine friends, period, because I had been in such a competitive environment and I was used to being pitted against one another. That was it was not community, it was competition, right? And so it was really wonderful to see through that, through the leadership of what was modeled for us, in the very beginning, is that we come together, we are united, unity first. Let's educate first. Let's come together. Let's talk to each other. Let's have these open conversations. It is not about one person. It is not about a final destination where we send everybody and we're trying to bolster numbers. It is not about trying to get on the front page. It is not about trying to get more eyes on you. It is about everybody learning each other's shared experiences and creating authentic connections and actual meaningful. I have friends now that I've met in real life and come stay in my house, and I never had that before. And I believe that is all because of the leadership that has been modeled through us, and the ability to also add leadership opportunities for others. Because everybody on this call right now, everybody on this panel right now, is a leader. You are leading. You are showing the way for others that look up to you and they say, "Wow, listen to Cass talk about that. Listen to Kat talk about that. Listen to Peachy talk about that. Listen to Angelica talk about that. Listen to Luna. Da 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 da. Wow, that frees me. That makes me feel seen. That makes me feel validated and heard." And so for me, meaningful leadership looks like modeling what you want to see the world come to it, and in those spaces, just like we have seen in the guild list, we're seeing right here. It's starting those conversations, being fearless, but also inviting people to share the stage with you, never walking out front, right? It's about all coming together in that equal spotlight. And I feel like that's really, really important for women in gaming. Anybody else?
I don't think we could have
Now that
summed it
I've
up
delivered
better. I think that is so
Right?
all encompassing.
Yeah.
I agree with everything. I feel it's important to feel seen and you matter. Because sometimes in the day-to-day life, whether you do have an amazing support system or not, being able to feel like you matter in a space that you have so much passion for is so eye-opening, and that really is so beautiful for sure.
I'm still stun locked by the fact that you beat the first enemy with Bloodborne.
The werewolf, right? Not
The
like,
Scourge Beast,
okay.
in Sefka's clinic. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it was a learning experience. Has anybody seen? I'd love to hear from y'all, like Peachy Cat, what have you, as far as leadership in the gaming spaces, have you really seen any examples of leadership that stood out to you, that of women in gaming?
I mean, for me, I've changed my content around quite a bit since I started. My start in streaming is fake. It's not real. I used to stream directly from my PS4 to show my brother video games I thought he would like to see, not to be a streamer. My brother's 10 years younger than me. So I was, after I was already post college, playing like Final Fantasy 15, and I was like, oh, my brother would love this game. So I was like, I'm gonna stream it on Twitch so he can watch it because we're 100 miles away from each other. And I'd be like, go to this link so you can see this. I want to show you this game. And like that's how I started streaming. I got affiliate that way.
Wow.
And then I stopped. I didn't stream for a year after I got affiliate because I was like, what is this? Like, I was like, I didn't want to do that. And then when I started streaming intentionally, I was streaming a lot of recent games, like brand new games. And while I love modern games and I actively play them off stream, they were burning me out on stream. And it wasn't until I joined the Women's Guild in 2023 that I found like a retro community. And I was like, I've always wanted to play retro games on stream, but I didn't know how. And 2 or 3 women there were like, this is what you do, this is what you buy, this is how you set it up. And I was like, when I asked this like 2 years ago on like a Reddit forum, so I already went into hell asking questions, but I was like, how do I do this? They were like, women shouldn't play games. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I guess I won't then. So it was so interesting to like come into the Women's Guild and find people so readily available to just offer help. I think I even said, I was like, oh, I'd love to stream retro games, but I don't know how. I didn't even ask anyone for help. They were like, this is where you do. Here's the links. Here's this. This is what you buy. And I was like, I've never had helpful people before. What is this? Like the retro community is very polarizing where some people are so awesome, but a lot of them are really just genuinely terrible. So I was like, it's amazing that this is what I was met with. And seeing the content that those people create and how they run their streams and they're streaming retro stuff, that was, it like rewired my brain on like, oh my God, I can play games that don't burn me out. I don't know what it is too. Like, I don't know why modern games, they're so tiring for stream, but I'll actively
like
play them off stream.
overstimulating and like a
It
lot
might
of
be
like
that. I like my little pixel babies.
yeah. And you saw this. You are in this community, and everyone check out command TWG if you want to check out more about the Unity Guilds. But you're in this community where you're finding people, right? And then you said like that example for leadership for you was not only being able to see what people were doing and getting inspired by that and say, I want to do this too, but getting the help when you want it, when getting the help that you're getting this help and you're like, whoa, I didn't even have to ask for this, and I'm already being uplifted. And I feel like that's just leadership. That's a beautiful example of women in gaming leadership, the way that you want to see everybody succeed, because when one of us succeeds, we all succeed. When you see a woman winning, you're like, yes, let's go team.
I love seeing people reach goals.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even know, like, there's so many people in the guild. I don't talk to every single person, but I'll see like someone I've never interacted with get like a really cool accomplishment. And I'm like, that's so cool. And I'm like, I'm excited for you. And I'm like, we don't even know each other. I'm just like excited to see women winning.
Yes. I actually specifically want to shout you out, Sav, as like you made us this whole outline. You kind of took on a leadership role for this discussion in a way. And like, sorry not to put you on the spot, but thank you so much. You did so great. Like,
truly.
This is my first time doing something like this, and I was overwhelmed, and you just like made it so easy.
No,
you really
no,
did. Yes,
no,
you did.
no,
Yes,
no,
you did.
Listen,
don't
no, that
me.
don't listen to her. No, you shall not perceive. No, it's okay. No, everybody has really, y'all have all. Sorry, microphone. Y'all have all done so much. We've like from the layout to the names. We have had everybody's contributed. Something here. Thank you for saying that. That was very nice. But it is really fun to do these things because we do get to all work together. And and uplift each other. I get really excited about that stuff. This is like one of my favorite things to do. I actually just worry about if I'm over enthusiastic because I love
no.
stuff like this. I really do, because I feel like it's, as somebody who's been on stage like my whole life,
Mhm.
I do understand the power of a platform. I understand the power of a voice, and I think that there's something so unbelievably powerful about women coming together and sharing their
Yeah.
experiences, because it's literally it's magical. It is something that cannot be stopped, and once you do amplify that and you hear that, and it gets louder and more present and more visible,
Mhm.
then that empowers the next person. You never know who's coming through, you never know who's just tuning into the stream for a brief second, and then that's what they needed to hear, is a group of women that represent them, that
Mhm.
are voicing the things that they've had in their head. So
Mhm.
thank you for sharing your experiences and everything like that, because I feel like we have so much going for us. I feel like there has been so much progress. I do, like, do you feel
Mhm.
like, what do you there is still work to do, like, we
Yeah.
have talked about progress, right? But like, if you could point to one thing that still needs to change, right? Like, and I know that there is a lot, but we have to focus. We have to, right? We have to focus. We have to put on those which words, the X-Men that has the laser eyes, and he's like,
Yeah.
and he's
Cyclops.
Cyclops, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
You know how when he doesn't have his little visor, he just blows everything up. That's just what
Yeah.
we have to do. We have to put the visor on, because
Yeah.
we have so much power, and we just have to
Mhm.
focus it. We have to put the visor on. We got to focus that power. And if you could pinpoint it, to just pick one thing in the industry, that in the gaming, that needs to change, that's whether it's communities or in the industry, whether it's the platforms, like, what would it be? And I would love to hear like an answer from each person.
Okay. I have one right away. If I'll go first. Empathy. Understanding
Oh,
people that are
yes.
different than you. And like we talked about this when we met up the other day, but like Twitch is such a helpful thing for that. Like, because you can meet people from all different kinds of backgrounds, and you get to know them more as like a person when you're watching a streamer than just like a faceless name in
Mhm.
a chat. Like, I
Yeah.
think especially because like the percentage of interactions we have that are face to face versus faceless and online now is gradually shifting farther and farther to anonymous, like people you don't know. It's harder to have empathy, and it's really important to have places that you can go where you can experience that empathy with someone who is not like you. And that's probably my favorite thing about Twitch. It's incredible.
Are we at the place where we have more interactions with other humans online than in person yet?
Oh,
I feel like
absolutely.
we're kind of biased group for that question.
Yeah. Well, not us specifically, but like us
Yes.
as in like humans.
Yeah.
I would
think we
say
might be. I don't
twice.
know. Yeah.
I
You
was
have to
just like
consider the
wondering.
age, because like my mom is not hanging
Yeah,
out. Well, outside of
that's true.
Facebook, my mom is not hanging out on the internet. But
Mm.
maybe like people, I'd say 45 and under, I would say it's about even. Especially when you get into the neurodivergent subsect. As a neurodivergent person, it's easier to find other neurodivergent people. I have a very hard time talking to neurotypical people.
Oh my god, yes.
Because I have to explain why I say things the way I say it. It's like tiring sometimes. So I find like for me, it's just easier to find people that maybe think differently in the same way I think differently, where I don't have to explain my speech pattern or why I'm fidgety or this or that. So I feel like that's another reason, like another subsect of people that are probably spending more time communicating with others online versus in person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What about you, Angelic? What do you think? Do you think that like, if there was one thing that we could change?
I would have said empathy also, but also just being supportive, especially with women supporting women, because I get very tired of seeing so many women put each other down.
Yeah.
And
Oh, not
I
in this
see it.
house.
Ow! I'm sorry, I just got hit by one of the pugs. I see it a lot in schools. Like the girls will put down
Mhm.
each other and they'll put down other girls that they
In
might
what?
not know. What?
In schools?
Oh,
Yeah,
she's a
in
teacher.
schools. I'm a
Oh
teacher,
my
sorry.
gosh, I thought fish.
I mean, yeah, schools of fish too.
Schools of fish, yeah.
I'm so
Schools
sorry.
of fish are bullying each other.
Stop.
All the fish bully each other.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Thank
my
you for the
God.
context. I was like, no way. Like, what? Really?
Dad, you just made my whole day. I'm not gonna lie.
That's great.
So
I
in
was like, I have
That's
to
school,
going to be
rewatch
my
Finding Nemo.
quote.
I missed that
sorry.
part.
That's gonna be my quote on Blue
Right.
Sky and stuff. Schools of fish bully each other. Just
I
so everybody
believe
knows.
it. We were just talking about the ocean earlier. Okay, hear me out. All right.
That is
Not
true. That
true.
is true.
Yeah.
No,
So, but in
but
schools,
Yeah.
girls put down each other all the time. Like
Mhm.
we're
they
taught to.
are,
We are raised
yeah.
to do
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
And like I try so hard to teach like accountability and like empathy, but I also try to really like do that whole uplifting each other, especially girls uplifting girls, because we already have enough going against us. We should be behind each other, not like
Yes.
fighting each other.
Yeah, that's got to stop. There's no place. No place. Oh no, the clip.
School
What?
girls.
Oh,
Oh my god, that just made my whole day.
that was so bad.
That is a memory that will take forever. I think
uh,
that that is so, like you were saying earlier, like this is like history. We're gonna be looking back at this and being like, "Oh, wait, these conversations, like we're only gonna have once, if that makes sense." And it's, I think that there's an importance in being present in doing things like this, because I know that for me, like time flies, right? And I think it's really beautiful to be able to, hone in on something and take the moment, like time to do so.
yeah, no, you're right. Like if you so on that note, Cass, like what do you think? What would you, if you could change one thing? What would you change?
I think a lot, actually. I overthink. But I think that some people say to not be yourself. And I think I've talked a lot about that, but identity and being able to not shy away from being who you are.
Like that authenticity.
Yeah, authenticity,
Mhm.
exactly. I wouldn't be here without discovering amazing women who weren't afraid of being sensitive, crying, or even just playing games that might not seem for women, if that makes sense. And so I think I would say that, yeah.
I love that answer. I'm so proud of that. Yeah, like it is, it's funny. It's like, we get sometimes you get so caught up on breaking the norms, right? You're like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to be put in that box. But then you're
Yeah.
like, but
Mm.
I'm a
Yeah.
little sensitive.
I just
Please don't
wanna
hurt
be
my
in all the
feelings.
boxes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like I'm just a girl,
Definitely.
okay?
We
Mhm,
want that.
exactly. And like, why would we shouldn't be ashamed of
Who
feeling
we
those
are.
emotions.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and that's a wonderful example. And Beachy, what about you? Like, what would you, if you could change one thing, what would it be?
So hard because I feel like both of those things, if you changed like empathy, it would
Mhm.
change so many things. Like it would spiral into so many other things.
Like a
So kind
domino
of
effect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so kind of piggybacking off of empathy and like authenticity. I think people had if more people had the maturity to have open conversations
Yeah. Yes.
with empathy and authenticity in mind, I feel like so many problems, forget about Twitch, just so many problems in general would be
Right.
fixed if we could just have like the emotional intelligence for open
Mhm.
conversation. And that goes into having empathy for people, it's that whole idea, like you don't know what's going on in everyone else's head.
Mhm.
You don't know the problems that they have to deal with on a day-to-day. So leading conversation with empathy,
Yes, leading
And
with
kindness.
curiosity.
Yeah.
and with your authenticity intact. I feel like that would solve so many problems.
So many.
Unfortunately, sometimes it means you have to have hard conversations,
Yeah.
Always.
which is
Things that might
not a
be
thing you learn
uncomfy.
overnight, by the way. That is a thing you have to practice at.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're like, I got this.
Navigating
Um,
those things and
Yeah.
And what? No, I think that's that's you hit the
So
nail on the
beautiful.
head with that.
Mhm.
And what about you, Kat? If you could change anything, what would it be?
I think I definitely echo all of those sentiments, and I think you guys all spoke so well in terms of the emotional side of the transparency. What do I think needs to change at an industry level? I think there could be, or there should be, taking this a different direction, a lot more investment into spaces and opportunities for women. I think there is. I want everyone to get the bag. I want everyone to get the bag, basically. I think there
Mhm.
is so much potential and so much that can be provided. So I would love to see more opportunities, more paid opportunities for women, more investment into the sector through leadership. I want people to be pioneering that and also not pulling the ladder up. I think again relates to not putting other women down and anything like that, but the opposite of that, having another seat at the table. I don't want to see token a token woman here, a token person of color there. I want it to be like you welcome everyone to the table. You always bring a chair. The table can be made larger. Um, and also just showing the different ways that you can get into industry, get into leadership, because there are so many different pathways you can take um, into gaming and into leadership. None of it is linear. You can go through the direct university route, you can go through lived and learned life experiences, and so many of like the great leaders I've seen in the gaming space are the women who are showing the different lifestyles they lead as well. Like sometimes you're a mom, sometimes you are a student, sometimes you are this or that. One of like my favorite people through leadership in gaming, she moved countries and she was a really big inspiration for me to be able to find the confidence. Like, yeah, I can do that. I can uproot my life, and she mainly streams games, but like her showing the ability to move and giving insight into her personal life as well, which can be scary to do. And it comes with its own risks and rewards, but her showing that and then us having conversations and then meeting up in real life as well to discuss things like that is something I love about leadership in gaming, but also I would love to see more of as well, and is what I try to do myself.
That was so eloquently put, and
Mm-mm.
really really awesome. You're touching on those opportunities.
Yeah.
I would say that for me, I think that communication is key, and touching on the fact that we're transitioning, if we're not already there, to like primarily online communication. When's the last time that you went outside and you noticed somebody that was like looking up, right? And that was like taking in the people around them instead of looking down at their device. I feel like we're so disconnected even when we are
Mhm.
in real life, and that that online communication is the way to connect with others. I feel so blessed to have been able to stumble upon Twitch and be able to like, because I have felt areas of such severe isolation and loneliness
Mhm.
in my life that before Twitch, where I didn't even know how to connect with anyone. And so it's really wonderful to have this, but at that same time, what I believe I would change is it does come with its own nuances and its own challenges, and especially as we're talking about, there's so many spectrums as far as not only on the terms of like neurodivergence, but it's also of like economical, cultural background,
Yeah.
how somebody was raised, what opportunities they had. And so I believe that with communication, there should be, and I'm actually like writing a course. I wrote like a course called Effective Online Communication that I like did like little videos for that I'm going to be releasing in a couple months. But it'll basically be like a training course for online community management in the sense of digital decorum, because there is no golden standard of online etiquette. There's
Mhm.
it's just the Wild West. And if that's great for you. But if you don't come from somewhere where you know what spoon like to eat the soup with, or what fork to
Mm.
eat the salad with, and there's that gap there because you don't know how to communicate online.
Yeah.
You're behind. It's that starting point where somebody else has an advantage over you, and like maybe it could be anything from moderation to crafting an email. But yeah, so like that's something that I've been working on, that I feel like would be a good change, because it's something that I've struggled with a lot,
Mm.
in the past, is like finding out how to be online, how to type, how to to what
Yeah.
I like typing things out and deleting it and then typing it again and
Yep.
being like, should I add an
Mhm.
exclamation point here? Does this sound over eager? Like, wait a minute, is that where an
Mhm.
emoji would go?
Yep.
Hold on, you know?
Mhm.
Or even just like in sentence in ways of dealing with you know, as somebody like even though I've performed all over and everything and I've traveled quite a bit, but I saw hotels and stages. I did not see communities. And so being able to be exposed to such a wide like plethora, just like Luna was talking about earlier, like that empathy because you get to see more types of folk, you know, like and it's like wow, like
Mhm.
I didn't even know this and this and this and the guilt have also helped me to be to learn more about other people around me. But I feel like it's just really really cool to be able to like be in the moment with you
Mhm.
all of not only having a vision of how you want the world to look, but being a part of that with you. And
Mhm.
on that note, like thank you so much for being trailblazers and making stuff like this happen because this takes a lot of effort and intention and bravery, and you've all been so uh, free with your thoughts and your hearts, and I appreciate you immensely for that. And I would love to now open it up to the Q&A if we have any questions.
Mhm.
Heidi Cakes wants to know the most emotional game Peachy has played or anyone. This is
Ooh.
great. And let's try to also for the sake of time and make sure everybody can answer, we'll keep our answers on this end to like 1 or 2 sentences as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I guess since it was directed at me directly, Ghost of Yote. I played Ghost of Tsushima right before Ghost of Yote launched, and then I played Ghost of Yote. It took me 62 hours to platinum in 5 days. I cried almost the entire game, like ugly sobbing. It's so beautiful and
Aw.
good. I love it so much. Everyone should play it.
That's amazing. I feel like
Mm.
before we get the next question, I feel like Clear Obscure absolutely wrecked me within the first like 30 minutes.
I'm
Expedition
playing it
33.
right
That
now.
prologue made me cry. Rude.
But yeah, what?
I didn't
Hello.
even play the game yet. Why am I
I've
crying?
cried so much. I'm at like right before the final boss. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm so ready to cry a bunch.
It's so very beautiful. Thank you so much, Heidi Cakes, for your question, and thank you for all of your
Yes.
support that you've been like giving everyone in here. That's it's just
Mm.
lovely to see. Um, we love to see the spirit. Do we
Yeah.
have maybe we can have even more than one question posted at a time so that we can make sure we're not
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all. I have a little bit of a delay
Mm.
on my
I
I've
I
got
chat
will
a
too.
Yeah.
list
say
right
I
here from
oh wow.
before.
Oh,
Oh, there, that one will work. I think this is a good question about playing on easier difficulties and how that uh feels as a woman and like the judgment in there if you decide to do that or need to do that or want to do that. Like the
Oh,
whole
okay.
conversation around
Yeah.
difficulty level in gaming is such a
Yeah.
Is
nightmare to navigate.
okay, I just want to clarify with is it Lily's? Is that
Hmm.
is
That's the
the
person that
question
posted the
says like
question.
my question
Mhm.
is do you ever feel pressured when wanting to play games on and is this pressure not to play them on an easier mode or pressure to play them on an easier mode? I want to just like clarify
Mm.
between those two.
Oh, no, I'm
Um,
thinking it because the
Like,
sentence after is that as a Clair Obscure enjoyer, it feels like my achievements are less valid when completed on easier difficulties.
mhm. Yeah.
Oh,
So
play the game.
Play
yeah,
it how
just
you
yeah.
play the
want.
game.
Fun.
Yeah. Like the
So
100%.
I'm not
yeah.
gonna lie. Sometimes easy isn't even easy.
Clair
Yeah.
Obscure, I played on easy, by the way. It wasn't easy. Oh,
Thank you
another
for the shared
train.
high train.
Oh,
Um,
Oh, yay! Hype
I'll
train.
say, in terms of playing on easier levels, I'm disabled. So a lot of times I have nerve damage in both of my hands. So a lot of times I physically cannot play a game on normal. It hurts my hands. It's
Mhm.
also why I have to use alternate controllers for a lot of things. I don't play on mouse and keyboard because it hurts me. So like I use a PS5 controller for everything I possibly can because that's the one that hurts the least. Um, Play however the hell you want to play a game. I
Mhm.
For me personally, I just enjoy people are out there having fun with games. I
Yeah.
literally do not care. I've had people come into my chat and go, I played this, or like, it's always when I'm having a hard time with the boss. Someone will come in and go, I beat this on expert difficulty in 10 seconds.
Oh my gosh, the
that is
Souls community. Well, it's
That
not
is
really
the
valid
worst.
unless you're doing it melee with
That's
with
what I'm like. Well, my
with a
dead
sword
grandma played
only
this
and
from her
blindfolded
grave.
and your
Shut
thumb
up.
behind your back.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Oh,
Yeah.
you used summons in Elden
Oh,
Ring?
oh,
You
no.
didn't really beat the game then.
Yeah, so
What
at that
you-
point,
sorry.
I kind of feel like I hope your mom put a little, your certificate or like your PlayStation, platinum trophy is pinned to the fridge in your mom's kitchen because I don't care.
Yeah,
Like,
remember, I would
Mhm.
say,
Whatever you want.
to answer that, just to wrap that one up. I just think that at the end of the day, nobody's gonna be happy with what you do. Like
Yeah.
not everybody's gonna be happy with what you do. Like
Really, nobody
there's not.
is.
It's so you do what makes you happy. You do what you like. You play the game
Yes.
the way that you're gonna enjoy it the most. If you're a masochist. If you like the hardest difficulty, do the hardest difficulty. If you want to play on easy mode, play on easy mode. At the end of the day, especially whenever it comes to streaming, which might like maybe you're gaming and maybe you're streaming, but especially when it comes to streaming, people want to see you enjoy yourself, and that should include you deserve to enjoy yourself. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks. What is
Definitely.
the I have a question. Thank you so much for your Lily's for your question though. I have a question is who was y'all's biggest inspiration? Who's someone that spoke to your soul and you felt inspired to start doing gaming or other? Wow, thank you so much for the hype train. I would give this one let's give this one to Kat. Kat, you were talking about having inspiration before. Who is your biggest inspiration? Somebody that spoke to your soul and you felt inspired to start doing cool things.
Oh, that's such a difficult question. There's so many like wonderful people across Twitch and across like other socials as well. I think it's probably like I call her my Twitch Yoda. She's the first ever streamer I watched and community I got involved in, and yeah, she's just so welcoming, so kind, so helpful with any questions as well. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's my Twitch Yoda.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like everybody here is super inspiring to me. I've met so many
Oh.
so many people in the guild that like opening up and hearing the stories. Like I'm gonna like Cass said earlier, like I'm gonna take this with me like for forever. It's like something that you get to. It's so deeply moving to have a shared experience with somebody that was just a stranger like 48 hours ago,
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
be able to share that with such genuine heart. Thank you so much for the biddies. Oh my gosh, guys, thank you. La, 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 la. I'm trying to also like catch up on these questions, but thank you so much for that. That's like as far as inspiring, like, and chat, y'all are inspiring to us too.
Yeah.
You share your stories, you share your lives. Like when somebody in chat says, "Hey, I went for a job interview," we take that back with us, and we say, "Wow, I really hope that they did well." So thank you for. I feel like it's all the human experience, right?
Yeah.
It's
Online too. It's again like most people think that you'll build connection with in real life, and yes, you can. Obviously, that's like the first thing that I was showed. Making friends in real life, but there's also such beauty in being able to do it with people that are so far away from you, but yet feel so close, and that's like so amazing. So yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. Sorry, Lily said that it was pressure to play on easier modes because we've been doing the chromatic lamp master fight. It's kicking my butt. You honestly like, hey, you can do something over and over and over, and if you're enjoying it, listen. Ask them how long it took me to get Radon because of the way that I wanted to do it. Yeah.
The most important part of Sav's sentence is as long as you're having fun.
As long as you're having
That's
fun.
the most important part.
1000%. And then A Cakes asked, how has your experience on Twitch changed when you were on the Women's Guild? I'd love to hear from who is the newest guildie here?
I just joined within the last year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I joined in the last year also.
We're all
Okay,
new.
awesome. I would love to.
I was
We'll
the
just say
first
we're all
wave
new.
of affiliates.
Except Sab.
Let's do this because this is important. This is a TWD event. I'd love to hear like a sentence from everyone. So starting with Luna. Luna, what is how is your experience on Twitch changed from the Twith Carrie's
Carrie.
yeah. How has your experience on Twith changed since joining the Women's Guild?
I just like it's gonna sound cheesy, but like it's cool to be part of a community. Like literally, it's a community, like a Discord community, and like there's always heckin' stuff going on in there. And I'm new, and it's it's kind of overwhelming how much is going on in there, but it's like anytime I want to dip my toe in, there's always something I can do, which is how I ended up here. I almost was like, oh, I'm too small to participate in this. I don't need to. I shouldn't say I'm interested. And then that little voice in my head was like, well, why do you feel that way? And I just decided to just put my name out there, and I'm like, why do I second guess this? I'm already in the guild. Like
Yes, you
that's what it's
belong.
there
Take
for.
up
It's
space.
just yeah, it's just so nice to be able to meet
Mhm.
other people. And like I haven't done that yet because I've been overwhelmed. This is like my first women's guild event thing I've done.
We're
So
so
I'm
happy
just
you
like
did it. We're so
heckin'
happy. And
excited.
cheers in the
Yeah.
chat for Luna like doing this
Yes.
first like
Thank
collab
you.
within the women's guild. What
Yeah.
about you, Angelic? What is like? So how did your Twitch journey change once you joined the guild?
Kind of a little bit with what Luna said, just being able to collab more and like, because when I first joined, I actually did the 1DF Twitch Women's Guild Raid Train event right away. And just being able to do that and meet all the other creators and like meet some of my favorite streamers now was really nice. But I also always have that same fear in my head of like, oh, I'm too small. I shouldn't do this. And that actually almost stopped me from putting in interest for this event. Um, but another thing is like I've met some of the coolest people in the guild just to be able to like connect with them and talk to them, and like Holly Dolly is one of them. I absolutely adore her.
Love Holly.
And like Peachy, I'm getting to slowly know through other things, and just being able to see everybody like streaming and like everyone's communities have just been so nice, and like
Welcoming.
everyone's communities are always so welcoming also. It's just so I just like being able to support, and
I
I
love
like
seeing the
having that
chats get
support.
along. You know, it's so great. You're doing great. You're doing great, chat. And yeah, like AK says, no one is ever too small. There's no such thing as too small. And Peachy, what about you? How has life
So
changed on the Twitch?
right before the Twitch Women's Guild, right before the guilds launched, and they mentioned them at TwitchCon that year. I think it was TwitchCon Vegas, right?
Mhm.
I was actually making plans to quit streaming. And I was like, oh, this sounds so cool. Because the one thing I was missing, I had my own community, my own regulars, but the thing I was missing was a community of streamers. Because I play single player games, I didn't have anyone to be like, hey, is this weird? Because I didn't have other streamers to talk to. So I was like, you know what? I'll apply for the guild. I won't get in because I'm a baby streamer and no one cares. And then I got in and I was like, that's a sign that I'm meant to be here. There's still something I got to do. So I started talking. Thankfully, I joined when there weren't that many people, so it wasn't as overwhelming as it is now. But I got to get to know people. I completely shifted my content, which I talked about earlier. But like having a community of people who get the behind the scenes crap, like people only see you for a couple of hours in front of the screen. We're putting so many more hours on the back end that no one sees. And like having a community of women who understand where I'm coming from, who see it, I'm like, okay, I'm like running myself into the ground, and like no one is seeing that because they're just seeing the end result, the production. You know, they're seeing the play, they're not seeing all of the rehearsals in the background. So having that completely, and being able to bounce ideas off of people, completely like rewired my brain.
The community just like, oh, I'm so glad that you didn't stop streaming because
I was
boy,
literally
we
like
want you here.
from quitting, and I ended up getting in, and I rebranded like 2 days before I got into the guild.
Wow. Oh, I love that. That's amazing.
So
I love everybody's stories are so different. What about you? What about you, Kat?
I think what feels most different being in the guild and being not although like it's like I guess uncouth or unproud to say, I feel like it does feel validating. Like you should get your I'm all about, get your validation from within, everything like that. But it does feel validating to be part of a group, and it helps you feel like there's always that level of backing and acceptance from a strong base of women behind you. Like, yeah, I feel like when you're doing things as a creator, as a gamer, whatever you want to call yourself, I think it's a little hard to explain to other people. And I guess just with any job, like you're questioning yourself. You're like, what am I doing? Is this valid? Is this something I really want to take to a career, or where to go? And having, I guess it's like a union. The Twitch Women's Guild is kind of like a union if I had to parallel it to like the outside world. It feels nice to know that you have a group that is advocating for you at all times, and you can come to them whenever you need anything. And yeah, it's just validating, and it's nice. Sometimes it's just nice to be validated.
I feel like, wait, what was the question again?
Oh, like any game that you didn't think you'd like but you ended up
Oh.
liking?
So I'm really like picky about the games that I play because I want to make sure I enjoy them. Because again, gaming for me is a source of like, I don't want to, experience bad things, which obviously you can't control, like we've talked about so much. Any game that I do start playing and that I dive into and feel like I'm wanting to play always surprises me, because I am, again, a picky person in that way. So, yeah.
I'm surprised that I liked the combat style of Hades. I'm a big like Greek, like mythology girly, but like I had never played anything that was like click 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 click
Roguelike?
click 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 click, like I was like,
The
what?
art in that game, though.
Yeah, and the
Stunning.
acting.
I love Hades.
I'm not a
so
roguelike
much.
person, but I will
Good.
watch Hades. I just won't play it myself.
I was like fun. I had fun. I was very surprised. I was like,
So
oh,
you'd
this is
suggest that like to someone who like maybe hasn't played those types of games? Would you
Yeah.
say, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I think
and
that's
it
an
like
easy
rewards you
introductory
dying,
game.
which is different than I'm
Oh,
used to. Like it, like if you
great.
die, it gives me
Very
yeah,
The
accessible.
point is
Oh,
dying a bunch of
setting.
times.
yeah, it's good.
Great.
And then
Living
you can
different
level
lives. I
up.
like that.
Let's have the panelists have a quick takeaway. Let's before we wrap, let's go down the line. After we answer this last question, and so if you could, I don't mean to like what is it, put you on the spot. Well, let's go down the line and maybe share one takeaway of something that you would want people to remember from this conversation. So we'll be thinking about that one. Len thinks that Brahmo meant, but also assumption or focus of audience in the group. Okay, yeah. Unless Brahmo will say, I think that the importance is to focus on what we can change and focus on visibility and really really empowering the voices of those in the space that we have. Like it's important to have clear communication, clear boundaries, introducing yourself in the right way. I think that it's really important to um, stand up for yourself and communicate what you do. And like my name is Savannah Lowe. I know people know me from Twitch if they call me Sav. People don't call me Sav in real life, right? Like that's how I know. And but if you called me Salami Sandwich, or I'd probably be like, hold up, actually, that's not my name. They call me, they call me. They basically, I like what I'm trying to say is if like be the change, do the things that you want to see in the environment that you're going to be in, because whether you're in gaming, whether you're in computer science, whether you're in sports, whether you're in medicine, if you are in a male dominated field, things are going to default to that. That is the reality. So if you're asking our thoughts on that, I would say change the way that you approach things and bring that presence with you by using clear and effective communication. And if somebody refers to you as dude, correct them. Just there is nothing wrong with correcting somebody if they call you something that you want to be called. Don't call
Yeah.
me salami sandwich. That's
I
not
will
that's not
say,
who I go by. I don't go
because
by that. I do y'all. Mine is a y'all. I'm Texan. I'm Texan. I'm gonna everybody's y'all. Y'all,
I love y'all.
y'all.
I live in Georgia now, and I have adopted y'all, just because it's really cute. But yeah, if I ever say dude and someone is like, "Don't say that to me," and I'm like, "I won't," then
Yeah,
it's
easy
part of
change.
my speech. Like,
But seriously, I do enjoy all the different perspectives. I could talk to you all all day.
Yeah, no, me too.
But
Mhm.
Sav's
when
family's hungry.
yes, I have to
I
wrap.
will say
I have
real
to
fast,
wrap. So before we wrap,
my thing that I'm taking away: fish bullies each other. Fish bully each other. Okay, I'm done.
Stop.
Love
not
you.
fish bully each other. Oh my gosh!
Oh my
If
god.
you could have if you
Okay.
could have share one takeaway of something that you want people to remember from this conversation. And Kat, please go.
Oh, one takeaway I think it is that there are women and people of different many shapes, lifestyles, capabilities, and if you're not seeing something, you're not seeing yourself represented somewhere, you can create and cultivate that space for yourself, or you can help
Yeah.
cultivate that in a space where you feel comfortable. Be the change. Like, you can't be what you can't see. So if you can't see it, then go ahead and be.
Clip it. Clip it. I love it. Clip it and ship it.
Clip
And
it.
Kat,
Yeah.
what about you? What is it? If you could have one takeaway.
Oh boy. I think it's important to be able to sit down with a group of people, say what you prefer, have a conversation, listen to other people talking about what they love to do and what games they love to do. I might not always have that preference for me, but there is such importance in being open-minded, and I always say, never forget to bloom with kindness and flourish with mindfulness, because that is something that's helped me being able to connect with others and understand others and not shy away from it. So I'd say, yeah, that.
Beautiful takeaways to connect, to keep an open mind so you can make those genuine connections and
Yes.
try things that you might not have and find your voice that way. That's beautiful. Thank you, Cass. What about you, Peachy?
I think I'm gonna piggyback a little bit off of Kat. In terms of when you don't see yourself represented, opportunities do not land in our laps. If you see something that seems cool, but for some reason you're not invited to the party, do it your damn self. No one is
Yeah.
stopping you from creating your own opportunities. And sometimes, especially in any male dominated, I'm talking professional, on anything, opportunities aren't there for you. Make an opportunity for yourself. Invite other marginalized people to those things. That's how we uplift each other. We make our own events, our own opportunities, and then we invite our friends and lift them up too. So I
Build
feel
the table.
that's been my big goal for this. I try to set a goal for something that I'm like, I need to be better at this. So that was my goal for this year, was to create opportunities and
That's
start. So I
amazing.
actually started. I have a raid train that I completely did by myself starting next
Let's
weekend.
go.
For women in the retro space. So
And
so
as these amazing creators are sharing their takeaways, let's get some shout outs in the chat so we can make sure that everybody is following. And also, it was pointed out that if you click on the shared chat at the top of the chat where it says shared chat and it's pinned, you can also click on follow all as well. But it is important. Let's get those shout outs in the chat so people can see the links and everything as well, because these are amazing creators. They have a lot going on, so much that we could literally go all day with these incredible creators. And speaking of no bullying fish,
Yeah.
Angelic, what's a one takeaway? What's one takeaway? That's not my
That it for me, it was really a lot of that fact that it's okay to set those boundaries with your community and with your chat, but also, bullying fish, no. um, but also just being allowed to ban people that like encroach on your peace
Mm-hmm.
in
That's
a
an
way.
excellent one. That is an excellent one. Thank you so much for sharing that. Boundaries are so important. And Luna, what would your takeaway be?
My takeaway is women are powerful. And the world is trying to tell us that we're not and hold us back,
Mhm.
and they can't actually do it. They
They
can't.
can't.
We will do what we want to accomplish. Don't let it affect your mind. Like don't let it mentally push you
Mhm.
down. They're trying
Yeah.
to, but like you're in control of yourself.
You got
You are
this.
in control of what
It's
you
your
do or
space,
don't
yeah.
do, or like try to accomplish or go for.
Yes.
I
It's
love that
beautiful.
so
Oh,
much.
the worst that's gonna happen if you try something and fail is you get to try another
And
thing.
then you
Try,
learn.
It's okay.
try
You
again.
learn
Always
from it,
something
yeah.
Sometimes you
involved.
try
Every
something and it's not your vibe, but if you don't try it, you don't know it's not
You
your
won't
vibe.
know, yeah, exactly.
exactly.
Oh,
Every failure is a learning
that.
experience.
You
So
don't learn from your successes. You don't
Mm-mm.
learn from the things that you got right,
Mhm.
right? So we love to see the trying, that we love to see the taking opportunities. Mods, if we can somebody check the channels or anybody and see where we can send our wonderful communities after we wrap up here.
Yes.
I know that we're taking over the channels today, so there should be one that's up next. I think that my
Mhm.
personal takeaway, my biggest takeaway, is that this culture of gaming isn't something that is just that's just exists. It's something that we are actively shaping, all of us, every single day, communities
Mhm.
and gamers and streamers, and I think it's in the spaces that we create. It is in the way that we treat people, and it is the standards that we choose to uphold for
Mhm.
ourselves and for others. And even the small choices that we make can make those spaces feel safer and more inclusive, more welcoming, more human.
Yeah.
And it's up to us. We do have that power. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation, for sharing your experience so openly. Cat in Wonderland and Cast Champ, XOPG, Angelic Try Short, Luna's List, Savannah Lowe here, and thank you to the Twitch Women's Guild again for coordinating this.
Mm.
Our community specialists, Watch Holly Uigui, for all the hard
Yes.
work. I know that we had extra mods. Thank you, all the chatters. Thank you to every single person who joined us, who shared, who listened, who engaged. These conversations are so important. They matter. You matter. You make this possible. So thank you. Thank you so much for making this come to life. You're
Thank you
lovely
so
and
much for being part of the
amazing.
conversation, friends.
And thank you so much, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.